Welcome to Farming Aid.
When it comes to raising beef cattle for real income, one question keeps coming up again and again: which breed actually makes more money, Angus or Hereford? For decades, these two legendary cattle breeds have shaped commercial beef production across the world. Both are trusted, proven, and widely respected by ranchers, yet they follow very different paths to profitability. In this video, we're going beyond reputation and looking at what truly matters on a working ranch. Feed costs, fertility rates, calf survival, growth performance, market premiums, and long-term herd efficiency. By the end, you'll clearly understand which breed tends to deliver stronger returns in different conditions and which one is more likely to keep more cash in your pocket year after year. Whether you're starting a herd or improving an existing operation, this comparison could change the way you think about breed selection. Angus cattle have built their modern reputation around one powerful advantage: consistent carcass quality that the market recognizes instantly. Over the last few decades, consumer demand for well-marbled beef has pushed Angus genetics into the spotlight, and programs like branded premium beef systems created reliable price incentives for producers finishing Angus-type cattle. That matters because when a feeder calf qualifies for higher grading potential, the entire production chain tends to reward it. Feedlots are willing to bid stronger. Packers anticipate better grading results. Retailers expect customers to pay more for tenderness and flavor. All of that trickles back to the cow-calf producer in the form of stronger sale-day competition. Angus cattle are widely known for producing higher marbling scores and faster growth toward finishing weight compared with Herefords, which improves their ability to meet premium carcass standards. That premium recognition translates directly into dollars in many markets. Estimates from production comparisons show Angus animals often return roughly $1,000 to $1,500 per head in profit under typical commercial systems, partly because their carcasses qualify for higher value grading categories. The extra margin may not sound dramatic on a single steer, but across a herd it becomes meaningful. A ranch selling 100 calves annually could see a noticeable revenue difference simply because buyers expect those calves to finish into higher value beef. This is one reason Angus genetics spread so rapidly across North America and eventually into global commercial herds. Still, higher revenue potential does not automatically mean higher net profit. Angus cattle usually require slightly higher investment during the raising phase, especially in feed quality and genetics. Some estimates place the cost of raising Angus animals between $1,200 and $1,500 per head, which is modestly higher than the typical cost range for Hereford cattle. That difference alone can narrow the profit gap significantly, especially in pasture-based systems where forage efficiency matters more than carcass grading premiums. In other words, Angus often wins on the selling side of the equation, but not always on the expense side. Hereford cattle approach profitability from a different angle. Rather than relying heavily on premium carcass branding advantages, Herefords quietly excel at the traits that reduce long-term operating costs. Ranchers who work in tougher grazing environments often notice how well Hereford cows maintain body condition when forage quality drops. Their ability to convert pasture efficiently and remain productive under range conditions reduces the need for expensive supplementation. Over time, those savings accumulate. Feed accounts for the largest portion of production expenses in most beef operations, and even small improvements in forage efficiency can shift the financial balance of an entire herd. Temperament also plays a hidden role in profitability, and this is an area where Herefords often receive praise from experienced cattle handlers. Calm cattle reduce labor time, fence repairs, injuries, and stress-related performance losses. While temperament does not appear on a carcass sheet, it quietly influences management costs across the lifespan of the herd. When cows are easier to move, easier to breed, and easier to manage during calving season, the operation runs smoother. That efficiency translates into real economic value, even if it is difficult to measure precisely on paper. Another place where Herefords quietly strengthen a ranch's financial position is maternal performance. Strong mothering ability improves calf survival rates and early growth without requiring expensive interventions. Consistent milk production and protective instincts help calves reach weaning age with fewer complications. A cow that reliably raises a healthy calf every year contributes more to long-term profitability than one that produces slightly heavier carcasses but misses breeding cycles or struggles during harsh seasons. Research on productivity traits in Angus, Hereford, and crossbred cows confirms that reproductive performance remains one of the most important drivers of herd profitability under pasture conditions. Climate adaptability is another factor that often determines which breed keeps more money in a producer's pocket. In hot or variable environments, Herefords frequently show advantages because their white faces reflect sunlight and their grazing behavior suits extensive rangeland systems. This improves comfort during high-temperature seasons and helps cows maintain performance when conditions become stressful. Some production guides also note slightly stronger foraging ability in Herefords compared with Angus under sparse pasture conditions. When feed becomes expensive or rainfall becomes unpredictable, that adaptability can protect profit margins more effectively than carcass premiums alone. Growth rate is one area where Angus typically regains the financial edge. Faster early maturity means calves reach market weight sooner, reducing the number of days they must remain on feed. Shorter feeding periods lower input costs and improve turnover efficiency. The ability to finish animals earlier is particularly valuable in operations that depend on consistent yearly cash flow. Even small reductions in finishing time can improve annual productivity across the entire herd. Because Angus cattle tend to convert feed efficiently into lean tissue, they often maintain competitive performance in both feedlot and grass finishing systems. However, Herefords should not be underestimated in feedlot performance. Comparative trials have shown Hereford steers sometimes gain slightly faster daily weight than Angus under similar feeding conditions, with comparable dressing percentages at slaughter. That means the perceived growth advantage of Angus is not universal. In certain systems, especially those emphasizing pasture development before finishing, Herefords can remain highly competitive from a purely production standpoint. Market demand plays one of the most powerful roles in determining profitability between the two breeds. Angus cattle benefit from strong brand recognition across the beef industry, especially through premium labeling systems that reward carcasses meeting specific quality standards. Consumer familiarity with Angus beef creates consistent demand that influences pricing at nearly every stage of production. Because buyers expect Angus-type calves to grade well later in the supply chain, they often bid more aggressively at auction. That expectation alone can shift the economics of a cow-calf operation even before the calves enter a feedlot. Herefords, by contrast, rely more heavily on performance efficiency than marketing influence. They do not usually command the same universal premium at sale barns, but they compensate through durability and predictable reproductive output. A cow that stays productive longer reduces replacement costs, which are among the largest hidden expenses in cattle operations. Longevity spreads development costs across more calves over time, improving lifetime return on investment. In practical terms, a Hereford cow that produces 10 calves during her productive years may contribute more net profit than a shorter-lived cow producing heavier carcasses but requiring earlier replacement. Breeding expenses also influence the economic comparison between the two breeds. High-quality Angus bulls often sell for higher prices than comparable Hereford bulls because of strong genetic demand in commercial programs. Estimates place Angus bull costs between about $2,500 and $5,000, while Hereford bulls often fall slightly lower. That difference may seem small in a single purchase, but across multiple breeding seasons it affects the total cost structure of a herd. Calving ease is another financial factor that quietly shapes profitability. Angus cattle have built a strong reputation for moderate birth weights and consistent reproductive cycles, allowing cows to rebreed efficiently and maintain annual calf production. Under good management, Angus cows often return to breeding condition within a few months after calving, supporting stable yearly calf crops. Reduced calving difficulty lowers veterinary expenses, improves calf survival rates, and keeps labor demands manageable during the busiest season of the year. All of those benefits translate directly into improved economic performance. Yet Herefords remain highly respected for maternal reliability and calm behavior during calving, which also contributes to strong survival rates in practical ranch environments. When calves stand quickly, nurse early, and grow steadily without intervention, producers save both time and money. These advantages may not appear on carcass grading charts, but they influence real-world profitability more than many people expect. Another important consideration is how each breed performs under crossbreeding systems. Many commercial producers combine Angus and Hereford genetics to capture hybrid vigor, producing calves known as black baldies. These crossbred animals often outperform either parent breed alone in fertility, survivability, and growth efficiency. The popularity of these crossbred cattle demonstrates that profitability sometimes comes not from choosing one breed over the other, but from using both strategically. Crossbreeding programs take advantage of complementary strengths, allowing producers to improve productivity without increasing feed costs dramatically. Longevity continues to influence the economic comparison long after calves leave the pasture. Angus cows typically remain productive for roughly a decade or more under good management conditions, which support stable herd structure and reduces replacement pressure. Herefords also perform strongly in this category, often matching or exceeding similar productive lifespans depending on environment and management style. When cows remain in production longer, each calf they produce carries a smaller share of the original development cost, increasing overall profitability. Feed efficiency remains the largest single expense category in most beef operations, which means even minor differences between breeds can shape financial outcomes. Angus cattle are widely recognized for efficient conversion of feed into growth and carcass value, but Herefords frequently demonstrate strong efficiency on lower-quality forage systems. That difference explains why Angus tends to dominate intensive finishing programs, while Herefords remain popular in range-based environments where pasture performance determines success. Regional conditions often determine which breed ultimately generates higher profit. In intensive systems focused on carcass premiums and rapid finishing, Angus cattle usually produce stronger financial returns. In extensive grazing systems where resilience and maternal consistency matter more than grading bonuses, Herefords often hold the advantage. Profitability shifts depending on rainfall patterns, feed availability, labor costs, and market access. Labor efficiency is another hidden economic factor rarely discussed outside working ranches. Calm cattle reduce injuries, handling time, and stress-related weight loss. Many producers value Hereford temperament for exactly this reason. A herd that moves quietly through handling facilities saves hours of work every season. Over years, those saved hours translate into lower labor costs and fewer infrastructure repairs. Brand influence also deserves attention when analyzing profitability. Angus cattle benefit from decades of marketing that shaped consumer perception of beef quality. Because retailers promote Angus beef heavily, demand remains strong even during periods when other beef categories experience slower movement. That stability protects producers from price swings more effectively than many realize. Herefords, although respected for performance traits, rarely receive the same marketing advantage in retail channels. At the end of the day, the debate between Angus and Hereford isn't really about which breed is universally better. It's about which breed works better for your conditions, your budget, and your marketing strategy. Angus cattle often bring stronger sale day confidence and carcass premiums thanks to their reputation for marbling and finishing performance. That can translate into higher revenue in systems where buyers reward quality grades. Hereford cattle, on the other hand, quietly improve the bottom line through efficiency, fertility, calm temperament, and the ability to stay productive even when pasture conditions are less than ideal. Over time, those advantages can reduce costs and protect profits in ways many producers don't fully appreciate at first. For many successful ranchers, the smartest move isn't choosing one side at all. It's using both breeds strategically, capturing hybrid vigor and combining the strengths that make each one valuable. That approach often delivers the most consistent returns across changing seasons, feed prices, and market conditions. In other words, the breed that truly puts more money in your pocket is the one that matches your environment and management style, not just the one with the loudest reputation. If this comparison helped you see these two powerhouse breeds in a new way, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your experience in the comments. Which breed has worked better for you so far, Angus or Hereford? Your insight could help someone else make a smarter decision for their herd.